All right, so I thought I'd do a quick video of this madness that I'm going to fix. And we are in a commercial space on an island in the South Pacific, and I'm not going to say where because I don't want inspectors coming here. But evidently, an electrical guy from the past undid. You got the main wires coming up from the service from the meter, and he just cut them off right there. So there's the two phases. This is a 240, single phase 240 we would call it. And he capped off the neutral, and those are just bare wires just sitting in there. And of course they're not hot because the meter is disconnected. So what they did is they took a piece of conduit and blasted through this concrete wall from the next suite over that we lease, and that's only a 100 amp panel, and did 100 amp. And this is the breaker for this. Let me see. They only set that up for 80. So my eyesight's going bad. So that's 80. That's coming from the main panel. It's 100 amp over there, coming to this one. It's a mess. Okay, and so one of the things that happened here too is they ran separate applications that were supposed to be on separate breakers. And instead of putting two breakers, we got spaces for two more, and we could do single wafers with the two, like this, but you know, 215 amperes, 220 amperes. But they stuck two wires in one breaker. Okay, and each application was supposed to have its own breaker switch. I mean, this thing is just absolutely. So this here is basically 100 amp service coming from the suite over to feed an 80, give us 80 amps. Then we have a 40 amp compressor sitting on this thing. Every time that compressor goes off, the lights dim. So it's madness. Okay, so what happens is that they had, we got a compressor, and here is the double pole for that. I can't see my eyesight's not good in this dark. I think it's a 40 amp. There it is, a 40 amp. And so every time that compressor goes off, all three suites, the lights do a like a shutter because it's a power surge. So I mean, so whoever did this has got all three suites hooked up on one panel, and it's an absolute mess. Okay, so I'm in the next door suite. All right, I'm doing some work in here. And this is what the electricians did in the past. I mean, this is so god ugly. And I'm going to fix this. I'm going to put a new panel here. And they just ran them wires right up through that ceiling tile, cut a hole in the ceiling tile. That looks terrible. It's even worse. Watch this. Okay, I don't have any light, but this is, I'm going to come up here, up inside this ceiling tile, and this is a real scary situation right here. Hopefully you can see it. Look at this. Oh, wait a second. Let me figure out some light. All right, so there's the AC, and the electricians, whoever's installed that, this is what they left up here. So the wire goes down to that AC. It's supposed to be on a dedicated circuit, where that AC is strictly on its own breaker. And then what they did was they tapped off, spliced it right to the middle, left it right up here in the ceiling, so that, and they added a plug in the next suite. This is an absolute nightmare. So I gotta fix this. And typically you're supposed to have some access. Here it's a storage, but there's no access to get to that panel too. So I'm gonna clear all this stuff out. I mean, and so this here is the panel that goes to the next suite, where it's a 100 amp panel here, and they got an 80. So they set it up with an 80 double. So it says like that right there. It says right here, look at this. Next door. So basically it's the next suite. That's an 80 amp double throw breaker. And then they ran the wire to feed the next panel. And they put that panel on the same breaker that is, 80 amp. Normally what I would have done if I had a sub panel is I would have went straight from the double throw breakers, fit the wires, and then tagged them into the lug nuts, the two phases that usually come with a regular brand new panel. That's how I'm going to do this. But man, so we have another suite that we rent on that other side. So all three suites, I'm in the middle one right now, are running off this panel, and it's just not good. So what I got to do is put this on a box. Then there's a company, when I worked for Commercial Guys, we use a product called Caddy Clips. They had this little dude with a hat on, a big nose, and then you would just caddy these wires. You know, if you had ceiling wires coming down, they'd shoot, you know, with a Hilti gun, you know, to secure these ceiling tiles. And they had different types of caddy clips that they called, and then you could just put this wire up. So they ran Romex. Typically they run like Flex or some MC through here. But I guess they went with the cheapest route. I think we got ripped off. I mean, he hired an electrician to do this. This looks like crap. Typically, you know, like BX cable or MC metal clad cable, that would be perfect for this. You know, some 12-2 since it's not three-phase building. And then we would just caddy this up against these, like this threaded rod. They got special caddies, so it's up off the ceiling tile, right? And this is just an absolute mess. It's gonna, I mean, I could do it, and I should have just done it myself rather than, you know, I was overseas when they were hired, and I wasn't around to watch. I wish I was, because I would have raised hell. And there's some wires back here that are just like a bowl of spaghetti, and that's just unacceptable. So anyway, got a lot of work to do. So you can kind of see the wheel in there is spinning pretty fast, and that's normally it'd be a lot faster. And the reason is because we got an electrical pressure washer that is down, so we're using our gas pressure washer. And for the other two suites, we use one suite to cool the other two with one AC. Here's one of the meters that is for our suite, disconnected. And the way this building is designed, it's an L shape. So up those stairs and down a street a little bit is another panel thing just like this. And we have three of the meters for our suites, but only one of them is controlling all three. And that little thing is just spinning off the chain. And but I think these electricians just got super lazy. It's really bad. And so now what I got to do is I want to upgrade this one, remove all this crap here from the other suite that's next door. And because we're running like 3 suites on 1 meter, and it's just really overloading this power. So I want to take it back to this original and get a meter for this one. And I want to set this up with a 200 amp service and make it look sexy and clean all this mess up. And some of these wires are all brittle, and I got electrocuted in here because some of them are just like, I just put a piece of tape on it because it just nailed me. Plus it's hot and humid, so I'm sweating. Look at the scarring on that wire. I got to redo this. It's a mess. And they just come through here like that. I mean, obviously it's concrete, so we can't drill through, but I'm gonna run some conduit, strap it up against this concrete wall. It's gonna look sexy. It's gonna look cool. And this is an absolute mess. I just thought I'd make a video. Hopefully an electrician will comment on this video. All right, thanks. Over and out.